So it's that time. Let's do a little Q&A. Hello, and the warmest of welcomes to today's video. For those of you who haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Nick, fab to have you here. Those who have seen my face before, thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you're enjoying my videos. I put out videos roughly 3 times a week on a range of different topics, anywhere from fashion, slightly more personal topics. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then please do head down, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. I love chatting with you all. I'm on about living life loud, and what that means to me is being your authentic self, being proud to be you, and just celebrating who you are. Celebrating yourself, and of course celebrating others. So, let's do a quick Q&A. So I did a video a week or 2 ago to say, here are some random things to get to know me. I just threw out some random facts there, some personal ones, some fashion related topics as well, and everyone seemed to quite enjoy it. So I thought, let's do another Q&A. And I always really enjoy watching these. I love the monthly Q&As that Dale does. I think they're fantastic. And I love getting to know the person whose channel I engage with. So I've done a few of these, not with any sort of regularity, here, there, and everywhere. But let's do another. So thank you everybody who submitted questions. I really appreciate it. I've got them here with me so I can have a little look. I haven't actually read them or prepared any answers. So hopefully, straight off the bat, I'm able to give you exactly what you need. Let me just have a little sip of my Diet Coke. Everyone knows that's my favourite drink, Diet Coke. Absolutely love that stuff. Not Pepsi. I'm very specific about it. Diet Coke, not Pepsi, okay? Not Pepsi Max. Anyway, let's get into the first question. And if it's if there's a Instagram or a YouTuber who's asked the question, I'll just link them below. But I won't read out the names because I'm never sure if people want you to do so. But I was asked, who's your crush? Now the people who I crush on in my day-to-day life that aren't famous won't mean anything to anybody. In terms of famous individuals, I would say it is Henry Cavill, Michael Fassbender, Oscar Isaac, and then if there's anyone who's a Strictly Come Dancing fan, Gorka Marquez from Strictly Come Dancing. So those would be my 4 crushes, I would say, celebrity-wise. So there we are. I was asked, what do you think of Vestiaire Collective? I have never bought from Vestiaire Collective. I actually haven't really looked on there, to be honest. It's not my go-to. If I can't find it, if I'm looking for a pre-loved piece, if I can't find it at Luxury Promise, Designer Exchange, Arm Candy Bag Company, Cellier Knightsbridge, Cudoni, then the likelihood is I'm not buying it, ultimately. I've heard mixed things about Vestiaire Collective, and that doesn't put me off necessarily, because I would always say if you're buying pre-loved, do your own authentication checks, etc. So that doesn't put me off. It's just not one that I go to be honest. I'm happy with the consignment stores that I purchase from, and in some instances they're kind of privately owned, smaller businesses, and I like to support them. And they often do really beautiful pieces. They're quite discerning about what they take in. So I'm comfortable. I'm not against Vestiaire Collective, and I know a lot of people have picked up some great pieces over the years from there, but I'm happy with the shopping destinations that I shop at, and I don't see a moment in time where I switch. Like I said, if I can't find it at those places that I mentioned, I'm not buying it. Okay, if you had to choose between one of your favourite bags or the hottest guy you have ever seen, which means losing the one you didn't choose, what would you choose? Ooh, okay. Now it's the time frames here that are the thing for me. My favourite bag. I mean, it also depends, are they a nice person? Because, you know, if they're an absolute arse, I want no part of it. I think I'm going to keep my bag, in all honesty. I think I'm going to keep my bag. There's too many unknowns about this mystery gentleman in my, who could enter my life, would it just be a one date, a one day? Would you be together forever? They might be nice, they might be, really attractive in my eyes, but they could be horrible. Whereas I feel like I have control of the bag, and there will always, always be someone else out there who I'm sure can make my heart flutter as much as this mystery individual. So I'm going to keep my bag, and I'm going to keep, and the bag that I had in mind when you mentioned this was my Longchamp Les Pliages with Living Life Loud written across it. It's not the most expensive, it's not the most, it's not the rarest of pieces, but it is unique and it's special to me. Thank you for the question. Which will be your next Mulberry bag? I think a Bayswater. I think pink. Whether I buy boutique or pre-loved depends on whether the brand bring out a pink in a classic Bayswater, so not a zipped or a belted. However, I have also been looking at the iris a little bit more, but in the larger sizes. But I do think a Bayswater. It's the style of Mulberry bag that I like the most. I have 4 different styles of Mulberry bag because I have a tote, I have a backpack, I have an Alexa, and I have 2 Bayswaters. The Bayswater is my favourite. I would maybe consider a zipped Bayswater, but they're often slightly smaller, and I like a big bag. So I'm thinking classic Bayswater, pink, ideally silver hardware, but if it came out in hot pink with gold hardware, fine, so be it. Okay, did you ever grow up with fashion and art at the forefront in your childhood and home life? Was that nurtured early on? How did your active interest in fashion and passion for handbags develop and grow throughout your life? That's question number 1 from this individual. So we'll tackle that one first. So I didn't grow up with it at the forefront, if I'm honest. But I've always had a real interest in it. I've always had an interest in clothing. I've always had an interest in style and brands as long as I can remember. But it took me a very long time to figure out my own personal style. I often would try to dress in a way that I felt made me fit in with other people, and it took me quite a long time. But I have a lot of individuals in my life who I'd say have great taste. So for example, my mum is not someone who, fashion's not her favourite thing in the world. She's very much about travel, but she has really, really impeccable taste. So I would like to say I take a certain amount of that from her. We have very different styles. She's more classic and conservative in her style than I am, but I would say she has impeccable taste. You can see that in home decor and all of those kinds of things as well. But I've always had an interest in fashion. I've always had an interest in brands. When I was at university, a lot of my study and a lot of my papers where I was defining the topic were about fashion and luxury. So it's always been something that I've used as a way of boosting myself. I love to experiment and explore. I've not always got it right over the years, but I've always had fun with it. But I'm now at a place, I would say probably the past 3 or 4 years, where I've really understood my personal style. I've really leaned into it and I feel really confident in it. And to be honest, it's made a huge difference in my life. Okay, where are your favourite places in the world to visit, and which countries' cities would you love to visit and why? So I talked about this in the previous video. So Dubai is an absolute favourite of mine. I really like going to Spain. I had a fantastic time in France when I was in France in June of last year. I was fortunate enough to have been to the Falkland Islands. I've been to Chile. You know, I've been really lucky actually with travel over the years. Barbados and Jamaica, like beautiful, beautiful places. And I've been really fortunate. China was another one that I spoke about, being able to visit the Great Wall, absolutely phenomenal. So very, very fortunate. I would love to go to Japan. I talked about Japan. I would love to go to Australia, but the thought of the flight, I don't like to fly. I don't like flying at all. Kind of 5 or 6 hours is the most I like to fly, but I would like to go at some point. And I would also love to go to Norway, or one of the countries that I would be able to see the Northern Lights. Iceland, potentially as well. I've heard so many amazing things. So yes, I would say that. And then, what characteristics do you value in friendship, and what kind of friend are you? I would say, I value transparency, I value honesty, I value kindness, and I value fairness. I don't believe as friends you have to agree on everything. I don't think you have to be aligned on everything to be able to be friends. You can have different points of view, but you have to have respect for one another, and you have to just be able to hear one another ultimately. And you have to be able to have a laugh with one another as well. Having fun is really important in friendship. I would say that as a friend myself, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll text the group and see what they would say about what kind of friend I am. But I would say I'm firm as an individual. I'm quite high maintenance, I would say. I'm very mixed because I'm high maintenance in some aspects and very low in others. Because I'm one of those individuals, you'll hear from me a lot and then you won't hear from me at all, kind of thing. And as time's gone on, I've become more insular than I ever used to be. But I would say I'm kind, I would say I'm generous, I would say I'm fun, and I would say I'm honest. If you need an honest opinion, you will always get it out of me. I can be a bit hot and cold sometimes, and if something bugs me, I am guilty of, I want other people to address things with me if I annoy them, but then I struggle to address things with other people, more because I am someone who just gets frustrated by things and I like to just let that peter off. So I can be a little bit hypocritical in that sense, but I would say I'm a good friend on balance. I've had my friends for a very long time, and I would say I'm a good friend. Okie dokie, I was asked, what's your next bag to get? This keeps changing. I'm debating between a Marc Jacobs tote in the pink, which I spoke about recently. I've also seen on Cudoni a white python Celine Phantom, which I'm very tempted about, but that I feel will be incredibly high maintenance to go for, or another Mulberry Bayswater I could see myself going for. What's your plans for Valentine's? Well, Valentine's has now passed at the point of filming this. I ate McDonald's and watched horror films because I am single at the moment. So that was actually, yeah, I was happy. I was happy with it. And are you going to collaborate with anyone that you haven't collaborated with yet? There are so many individuals I would love to collaborate with on YouTube. There are so many fantastic channels, and I would love to get the opportunity to meet some of these individuals in person as well. So I'm really hoping to be able to catch up with Deb from Wild Unfiltered. Steph and I from Handbagaholic keep trying to get a date in the diary and we just can't get our diaries to connect. You know, there are so many individuals that I've watched actually before coming on YouTube. There are individuals that have joined YouTube after I started YouTube, and I just really want to get to know everybody better because some really fantastic individuals. So there are so many, and it's too hard to answer because I want to collaborate with everyone. I love everyone. Okay, when it comes to luxury items, do you budget for them or do you just buy what you love in the moment? So I actually do both. So I do not have the budget to be able to just buy what I want when I want, but I have a fund, I guess I would say, that I can pull on. And if the fund is empty, then even if I see the most perfect item, it's not getting bought. But I do buy on impulse using that fund because I think with this stuff, a lot of it is about the emotional side of it. It's about heart. If you were looking for exclusively, utility and practicality, luxury just isn't, and designer goods aren't the right thing, because you can go and buy it from a high street or a supermarket, etc., and get the same utility for a lot less. So I do lean into the heart bit, but I do also like to think, how could I use that? And I will say, I've made the odd mistake, but I very rarely have made a mistake when it comes to items. There are things that maybe haven't worked out, but it wasn't because they weren't well thought through to begin with. But I will see it in the moment, and I might do a loop of the shopping centre or the department store, and then I'll go back. But that's probably about as long as I take to think about something. It won't be 6 months down the line, I then go on to buy it. That's very rare. Yeah, I do tend to do a little bit on impulse. So this is more of a comment, and it's really nice. I love all your outfits. Thank you. Especially the blue coat, the colour is gorgeous. I'll insert the coat here. This is from a brand called Jack, and I'm keeping my eyes peeled because I love this brand. I love this jacket. I think it's stunning. I haven't seen anything else that's kind of worked for me, but I will be keeping my eyes peeled because I love faux fur. I just love the look of it and the plushness of it, and it's so warm. Honestly, it's possibly the warmest jacket I own. I absolutely adore it, and I would love to have like 5 or 6 of these in different colours so I can just constantly style them out. But the blue is fantastic, and it's a great supplementary faux fur to my Karl Lagerfeld in the hot pink, which is a little bit more formal, I would say, whereas this big blue coat is a bit more daytime, but I absolutely love it. And paired with the Mulberry Bayswater, which is what I used it for most regularly, it was an absolutely perfect combo. Okay, last of the YouTube questions, and then I got a couple that were sent to me on Instagram. Nick, you have a fabulous ability to pull outfits and colours together. Thank you. How, when, whom did you learn it from? I don't know, which is a really crap answer to that question. I have experimented over time. I have tried different styles. I have tried different brands. My style got very confused over the years because, as I mentioned earlier, I tried to fit in, and there are certain things that I now look at that feel very reminiscent of actually what my style is today. So, for example, I loved when I was about 16, I bought my first pair of like the uber skinny jeans, which I always used to get teased for because they weren't in fashion at the time. Obviously, we know what happened there, but you know, I used to get made fun of, and people used to align that with the fact that they used to call me gay because I wore skinny jeans. You know, fast forward 2 years, I came out, but anyway, still wasn't fun. But I used to wear that, and I used to wear polo shirts, etc. I would probably still wear those outfits today. I then went through a period of time where I became a little bit confused with it all because I started to wear like, that was when I bought things like Lacoste high tops, and I used to wear tracksuits, and I became very confused. That wasn't my style. It doesn't mean that it's not a style that I look at in other people and think, oh, that's cool. It just wasn't very me. I don't really know where I was going with it all. But then I found my way back because I found Zara, and I started buying Zara in my first year of university, and I just fell into a groove of how to dress, and that was normally the printed Zara t-shirts, quite often a floral Zara t-shirt, a pair of black skinny jeans, a pair of black boots, and then a jacket over the top. And I used to wear my Lyle & Scott jacket, which I still own and I still wear from time to time. I really like it. But that was where I really started to find my style, and a lot of my style involves layers. That's probably something you'll see. It involves a lot of colour, quite often a lot of dimension, pattern, print, but it also involves layers. I often would wear the t-shirt as the way of bringing some fun and some vibrancy to the outfit, because other than that, I was always wearing the same kind of base layer of the black jeans. They were normally from Topman, then the black boots, which I think were Kurt Geiger's, I want to say, and then the black Lyle & Scott jacket, and then I normally had a varying range of t-shirts that went underneath it. Then I went through a period of time where I had quite a conservative style. It was at a point where at work I still used to wear a lot of dark suits. I used to wear a lot of tweed, those more conservative looks, which I still own and I still wear from time to time, and I still look back on, and I think they were good outfits, but I look at the person in them and think, that's not you. So it's not that the fashion was wrong, it was that it was just not me. But I did everything with a bit of a flair and a bit of a twist. So I always used to have, for example, if I wore my tweed, I had this beautiful brown tweed jacket and it has a purple check through it. So I always used to wear a purple tie with it because I just thought it pulled that together. So even when I wore a more conservative outfit, I still styled it and I still knew how to make it work. And then I started to park those more conservative looks, explore more colour. I started to wear the brightly coloured blazers. I started to explore more with texture, more with pattern, more with print. Then as time went on in my personal life, that was when I started to look at bags and heels and I just thought, screw it. Who am I dressing for? I'm dressing for me. So I'm going to pull things together that I love and I'm going to wear them. And if you love it, great. And if you don't love it, that's fine too. But guess what? I love it. Do I get it right every time? No. Does that matter? No. Can I laugh at myself when I get it wrong? Absolutely. Do I laugh at myself when I get it wrong? 100%. So, you know, it's one of those things where I don't think I learned it from any one source. I don't think there was any one moment in time. I have just been on a journey of exploration, and so much of it has been linked to me and as I feel my confidence as an individual has grown, as I feel my mental health has stabilized, as I feel all of these positive changes in my life, that too has brought with it an evolution of the way that I present myself to the world, and fashion has been a part of that. I don't feel self-conscious, I don't feel nervous, I don't feel a need to fit in. I just feel a need to be me and celebrate who I am, and that's ultimately what fashion allows me to do. That was a very waffly answer, so I hope you stuck with me through it. Right, we've got two really quick questions here. One is about Longchamp. What's the difference between the Longchamp mini lait pliage and the Longchamp small lait pliage? So by mini, I'm assuming we mean the XS. So if we were to look at the XS, let's take the Energy line as an example. It's the dimensions ultimately that are different. They are different bags. You've got an XS and then you've got a small. So the small is a 25 centimeter bag. I own a small, and it is the Pokemon, which was from Les Pliage collection back in 2020? 2021. When did I buy it? 2020, 2021, 2021. And God, it's just a bit of a time warp, isn't it? So I've got one of those, and it's a 25 centimeter bag. The extra small is a 17 centimeter diameter bag. So much smaller, but in the Energy line, they both have the non-detachable shoulder straps, I believe. They both come in a similar range of colors. Just look at the different variations, because with a Les Pliage, you've got Les Pliage Energy, Les Pliage Collection, Les Pliage Green, Les Pliage Original, Les Pliage Extra, Les Pliage Replay. You've got so many different variations that it's quite hard to determine exactly which, but I would say that you are looking at just difference in dimensions and practicality and capability. Practicality and capacity, not capability, capacity. But Autumn Beckman has a range of Longchamp bags, and I believe she owns both of these sizes. So definitely go and check out Autumn's channel, and I think she'd be able to give you a little bit of guidance. Alternatively, maybe Julie from Agent Bag Reviews, who also had a really extensive Longchamp collection. So maybe go and check out Julie's channel as well, and there you might be able to see a better comparison. I don't own the XS, so I can't show you what they look like side by side, but the website's great, the staff are great if you go into store, or alternatively, go and check out those two individuals that I've mentioned. And final question. Thank you all so much for sticking with me, but I'll ask it, so many questions, but I'll ask this one. If you could only collect bags or shoes. If you'd have asked me 5 years ago, I was a shoe person, and I know that I have a ridiculous number of shoes. I do, and it's ridiculous given the fact I wear the same 3 pairs over and over and over and over. So my collection of shoes is a little bit ridiculous, not particularly high-end. Kurt Geiger, June, I own some Steve Maddens. I do have the odd designer pair, but to be honest, shoes spend their time on the floor, they get ruined. I've spoken about this before. So 5 years ago, I would have said shoes. Now, I am a bag person. I love a good bag. I think a bag is a great way to top off an outfit. I do like a statement shoe, but I like a statement shoe alongside a statement bag. And to be honest, like I said, if I just was able to I do only wear the same few pairs of shoes over and over, and a lot of my shoes are away in their boxes. They're out of sight, to be honest. So the collection doesn't mean as much to me. They are more practical in my mind. Yeah, shoes are a bit more of a means to an end, whereas from a bag perspective, I love being able to style them. I spend more time thinking about how I can work the outfit around the bag. The shoe tends to be my final thought, if I'm honest, because I know somewhere in all of the shoes I've got, I'm going to have a pair that I can throw on my feet. But I would say bags, most definitely. I enjoy them, they're fun. I don't want to have to choose. I like to be able to collect all manner of things and accumulate and acquire and change and all of it. But if I had to, bags. So there we are, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that's been a little bit of fun. Thank you for watching. And I will see you in my next video. Take care, everyone. Bye now.